Welcome back to 30 Days of Lightroom, and in this video we're going to talk all about basic toning on your photos. So if you take a raw photo, you need to develop it. If you take a look at what your raw photo looks like, there's the before, there's the after. This is what we're going to be editing today. You need to post-process, you need to edit, you need to tone these photos. Those are a bunch of different ways of saying taking your raw photo and making it look like what you saw with your eyes when you were on scene. Or you can take the artistic approach and make this look however you like. Either way, again, here's the before, the raw photo. Very flat, very hazy, kind of a boring photo. I would not want to post this on Instagram. I would not want to print this out and hang this on my wall. If I hit backslash again to see the after, again, this is something I would post on Instagram or print out and hang on a wall. Big difference. So when we talk about developing, we are over here in our develop module, and the develop module and the library module are the two that I'm going to use 99% of the time. I really don't use map, book, slideshow, print, web, any of that stuff. And over in the right-hand side of the develop module is our basic toning tab. This is the basic tab. You can open it and close it with these little arrows here. And today we're in Adobe Photoshop Lightroom Classic, and 99% of Photoshop Lightroom looks the same, whether you're using Classic, CC, even mobile. You can follow along with this tutorial pretty easily. Everything we're going to be talking about in the Tone tab over here to the right is going to be pretty standard across every single Lightroom platform or app. So let's just go top to bottom and talk about all of these sliders. So starting here at the top is our histogram. We're going to have a very in-depth video strictly talking about the histogram, talking about cropping, masking, radial filters, retouching, and stuff like that up here. We're going to focus down here a little bit lower in our toning tab. The first thing I usually do is decide whether a photo is going to be black and white or color. We'll go ahead and we will reset all of these by double clicking. Reset exposure. And there we go. Here's our raw flat image, but I will decide whether or not I want to go black and white or color. Usually pretty early on, I'll have an idea what I'd like to do. You can always go back and forth after you've toned your image, after you've added contrast and done some retouching. You can always go back and change your image to color or black and white. That's what I like here. You can also press V on the keyboard to go back and forth, or you can choose the monochrome profile. So that's an option. I'm going to stick with Adobe Landscape for my profile because we are shooting a landscape. Landscape, let's say in comparison to portrait, you can see adds a little more, a little color, a little saturation, a little contrast. And I almost always stick with this Adobe Landscape profile, but don't worry, we're going to talk a whole lot more about profiles and how to create your own profiles and import profiles in an upcoming video, and it will be very in-depth and dedicated completely towards Adobe profiles. After selecting a profile, I'll typically look at white balance, again going from top to bottom, and as shot right here is what my white balance was in my camera on location on the scene. So we have as shot, auto. Auto doesn't look very good. It's very warm because Lightroom is looking at all of this blue in our sky, which is supposed to be blue, and it is compensating for that blue by making it orange, and it's really desaturating our sky. That doesn't look good. Daylight, that's a little too cool for me, for my taste. Cloudy is going to be pretty warm, not liking that. Shade is going to be warm as well. Tungsten, very blue. Fluorescent will be a bluish purple, not a huge fan. And flash will be very close to daylight. That actually looks pretty good. Or you can make a custom white balance, but for now, I'm going to use as shot because I actually white balanced properly on location. If you're shooting raw, which I highly recommend, you're going to get the most power out of Lightroom and you're going to get the most data out of your image. You can see here that we shot an NEF file, which is raw, 1/250th of a second, ISO 100. You can bring that up by pressing I on the keyboard and also make it go away. But you're going to get the most tonal value and most dynamic range and most editability out of your image by shooting raw. So I'm going to be able to really mess with my exposure if I need to, and I'm going to have a lot of leeway with my white balance. Another way to change your white balance, we can zoom into a neutral part of the image, like the mountains up here. We can take our little color picker and pick a little part of here that looks neutral to white balance. You can also see as I move this around, over in our navigator here, you can see a little preview of what the white balance will look like. So if I select something very yellow, you can see our navigator looks very blue to compensate. If I select up here in the mountains and the snow, almost identical because that is kind of the area that I white balanced off of when I was actually shooting. So that looks pretty good right there. That is a great start. And now I will go and I will mess with our exposure. You can see here in the tone tab, I can double click tone and reset all my sliders. If I mess up all my sliders here, just double click, resets everything in this little tab. So what does this little auto button do? That will automatically edit my photo. That looks okay. That gets us about 50% of the way there. But auto does not always work, and you usually have to go in and make some tweaks by hand, which I'm going to do. Our exposure still looks a little hot. I'm going to bring this down just a touch to about -0.5. That looks pretty good. Now our sky is properly exposed. Bring our highlights down ever so slightly, and you can see what the highlights are doing. Look at the top part of the image, and you can see down here in the water reflection just a little bit. By turning up my highlights or bringing down my highlights, I'm getting some more saturation here by darkening up the sky. It was a little bit too bright. And our shadows are going to do the exact opposite. They're going to mess with our shadows. So take a look here in these shadowy areas. I can bring that up, bring a little more detail, or I can crunch my shadows down quite a bit. But I like to typically leave my shadows in the middle here. You can see what those are doing down here in the shadows, over here in the shadows. One thing about the shadow slider that you need to know, let's zoom in here, it will bring out the detail in your shadows, but it will also bring out the noise. You can see all this noise down here in the shadows, and this really depends on your camera and your camera sensor of what it can take. If you are messing with a JPEG image and not a RAW, you're really gonna have a hard time bringing out the detail in the shadows, but just something to be aware of with your shadow slider. Just be careful. So I'll bring out those shadows just a touch, and we can see, let's reset our whites and we'll reset our blacks. These are really good for adding contrast in the very brightest and the very darkest parts of your image. So I'll add a touch of contrast here, brighten up the sky and the tops of those mountains, kind of see what our white slider does, either kills off our highlights or adds a bit of punch to the image. And that's why I like saving these for last. I can tweak everything with my highlights, my shadows, and my exposure, and I'll save my blacks and whites for last. Now for the blacks, I will bring down just a touch, add that little contrast, that punch, and that's looking really good so far. I'm gonna hit backslash. That is our raw before image. And that is what we have so far. This is looking really great. So let's talk about contrast. You'll notice that I saved that for last. I usually go top to bottom and then come back to contrast, because contrast is a very global overall edit to your image. And I like to save that for the absolute last thing I do after my image looks about 99% of the way complete. I like to either add or subtract contrast. Now that looks very flat if I turn it all the way down. If I turn it all the way up, I would consider that kind of crunchy, and we just kind of crunched and kind of deep fried the image. That's way too much. I'll usually add maybe about +20, somewhere between 10 and 20 looks good. But I like being able to tweak this when I'm all the way done and just kind of slide it into right where I need it and right where I think it looks good. We will get into presence here, which holds our texture, clarity, dehaze, vibrance, and saturation, and I will have a very in-depth video on that. But this should get you going now for how to do basic toning to your image and take it from looking very flat as a raw image to looking nice and crisp and contrasty as a final export. And we already covered how to do an export on your images. So that is everything for basic toning. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe for all of my 30 days of Lightroom. And of course, if you have a friend that's learning Lightroom, be sure to share this video to help them out so they're not overwhelmed learning this application. So until next time, get out and go shoot.